Hello everyone, it's Scott, and we're back with another one of the decks that won a regional championship before Pro Tour Amsterdam. And today we're going to be playing the mono red deck that won the South American Regional Championship. That deck was played by Pedro Perini, and let's take a look at what Pedro came up with to win the tournament. So in Pedro's deck, he's got really a creature base that goes back to what we saw more over the winter, with cards from Eldraine being a key part of the deck. So let's go through what he's got. So first of all, he's got 4 Monastery Swiftspears, great prowess card for 1 mana. We've got 4 copies of Bloodthirsty Adversary, 4 Charming Scoundrels. Okay, can give you a treasure token, wicked roll, or you can draw discard a card and draw a card. So those are good abilities on Charming Scoundrel as well. We got a couple copies of Feldon, and then we've got 1 copy of Goddric, Cloaked Reveler, who plays an important role when you get him onto the field. All right, in support of that, we've got a lot of removal. So we've got 3 copies of Play with Fire. We've got 3 copies of Scorching Shot, 3 copies of Obliterating Bolt, and 3 Lightning Strike. And then we also have 2 copies of Witchstalker Frenzy. So hopefully between those cards, we've got the removal we need to take care of anything that the opponent has on the battlefield. And finally, in support of those creatures and removal spells, we've got 4 copies of Kumano Faces Kakkazan and 4 copies of Urabrask Forge. And Urabrask Forge can be an all-star in the deck because if you get in games where your opponent can't remove Urabrask Forge and you're just building it up turn after turn after turn, eventually you're going to be able to go through and hit them for lethal damage. In our mana base, we've got 17 Mountains, a Sokenzan Crucible of Defiance, 1 Mirrex, and 4 Mishra's Foundries. And that gives us some extra creatures in the deck if we need them. In the sideboard, we've got 3 copies of End the Festivities, a couple copies of Lithomantic Barrage to deal with white and blue creatures that are large. Got a couple copies of Unlicensed Hearse, again a card that's going to deal with the graveyard. 4 copies of Furnished Punisher for those 3-color decks that don't have very many basics in them. This can do damage turn after turn if your opponent doesn't have enough basics in play. We got a couple copies of Koth, Fire of Resistance. Again, if we need some additional removal or we feel like we need to move faster through our deck, Koth can do that for us. And finally, we've got a couple copies of the Elder Dragon War for 2 and 2 red mana. You get a read ahead saga. On Chapter 1, the Elder Dragon War deals 2 damage to each creature and each opponent. On Chapter 2, you can discard any number of cards and draw that many cards. And on Chapter 3, you can create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. So usually what I'm seeing, this is, you know, the kind of the board wipe for the deck, where it can come in and wipe out a lot of little creatures on your opponent's side if you get it in time. So that's where I would see that being played in Standard. All right, so that's our deck. So let's get into some gameplay. But before we do, remember to like and subscribe to this video to get further content throughout Outlaws of Thunder Junction Standard Season and beyond. Playing the mono red deck that won the South American Regional Championship. Terrible opening hand. We got a mulligan that. Guess we'll get rid of Scorching Shot here. See what the opponent's playing. Looks like they're playing the Slick Shot deck. Okay, opponent plays second Commercial District. Getting to scry again. Okay, no play by the opponent. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and cast Feldon. Get in a couple damage. See what the opponent has. Okay, they're going to... Okay, they've got that, so we're going to do this. we're going to actually play Urabrask Forge here, because Urabrask Forge is really our big win condition. You know, just being able to be something that the opponent generally cannot get rid of. And we'll get Outcast Trailblazer off the field next turn. And probably whatever else they play. And this may be, again, we're playing the Calamity deck. Oh, that's terrible. So that means we can't even kill stuff. Alright, well, isn't how I planned it, but we're going to have to attack and do some damage. Okay, get him down to 11. I'm going to go ahead and kill this. Okay, so they're going to have a tremendous amount of mana next turn. I'm going to play Charming Scoundrel here. I'm going to create the treasure token so that way I've got the ability to play Obliterating Bolt on that, so I can get rid of it. And okay, they win. Yeah, we just concede there because turn 4 and they get that on the field. Yeah, I don't think there's an answer here. You know, unfortunately, they printed a card that is really bad for the game. Because that card that they played was incredible. It's really a bad Magic card. It's probably going to get banned at some point because of what it can do. We have to keep this because we've got to keep the Witchstalker Frenzy cards to play against whatever they're playing. And we're really going to have to go quickly or we just lose. Alright, I'm going to hit them with Play with Fire. The only reason I'm doing this is because I need to get to things that can help me. Forge is a helpful card. Okay, and because I don't have the resources to get there, I'm going to go ahead and make a treasure token. Okay, get it down. Okay, opponent has Bolt Spike. Bolted Spike to kill our creature. Hit him for 1. And the bad news here for us is that... Oh. Okay. And that's the one thing with that deck that can be... And we're going to just go. The one thing problematic with that deck is if you don't get land, you're stuck. And it looks like they didn't get the land, so they got stuck. Going first probably will help them a little bit. So we'll see if we can come back in game 3 and win the match. Okay, they choose to go first. We have no choice but to mulligan because we can't take a chance here. We'll get rid of a land there. And we're going to try to go quickly. I'm going to put Kumano out because I need to push as much damage as I can as quickly as possible. Because... yeah, we'll play that. And then we're going to play Charming Scoundrel over Bloodthirsty Adversary and Monastery Swiftspear. And I'm playing that card over those because those I want to have in specific circumstances. Okay. And I'm going to assume they've got some kind of damage or something they can flash in here. So... get them down to 10. Gotta play with fire in hand. Okay, they're at 4. They're gonna Brotherhood's End, so they get their board wipe. Another reason not to use that. I'm gonna hit them with this, simply because I've got to get something that's gonna help me in this situation. Kumano's not terrible, but they're getting to that mana point where we're just not going to have much options. Okay, we're going to go with Bloodthirsty Adversary, get them down to 4. So the question is, do they have their card and can they cheat into play 2 big creatures or not? looks like they've got Terror of the Peaks. Okay, we're going to play Swiftspear with a counter on it, and we are going to survive this one and take them down. And if the difference between game 1, where they just wiped the board with me, and these 2 games was simply they didn't get going quickly. I was able to go quickly in both game 2 and game 3, and they weren't able to go quickly in game 2 and 3. And even though they got Terror of the Peaks, Terror of the Peak was too late to actually win the game. Alright, so Mono Red with a win. I'm playing the Mono Red deck that won the South American World Championship. This is a keepable hand, so we'll go with it, and we are on the draw. So that puts us a little bit behind in what this deck wants to do, but I think we'll be alright. They probably have a cut down for this, but we're going to run it out there anyways. See what they play. Draw 2, then discard 2. So they're playing what looks like potentially a 3-color deck with, yeah, so they're using green as the 3rd color here. Okay, they cast a spell for free from their hand. So that's probably going to be... Oh, okay, so they got their 3rd. Now I get this out, get the opponent. Put a wicked roll on it. Alright. Swiftspear, since Swiftspear is probably our best bet here. Okay, back that. Good news is if we get a land, we can actually kill that. Oh, actually 2 things if we get it. Yeah, this is a little bit rough for us here, but we're gonna do this. Yeah, the life gain is the problem, and we've been playing life gain decks all day long, so it's just unfortunate that we're having to deal with so much of that. Yeah, fortunately, do that. So unfortunately, because they get it on turn 3, they get lucky and get that on turn 3. We're probably dead here because we don't really have a lot of play around for that. If we get another land, we can get rid of it, but that's going to be the big thing. They're going to go right to the 2nd to mill their cards, and now they can get a Jin and get Taxus back if they've got it. Alright, so we do have what we need to kill this thing. Unfortunately, it's not going to get us to a point where we can really play in the game. And I'm seeing more and more of these combo decks where they're just ramping into big stuff for no, you know, with really no land at all. And you know they're gonna get Traxa this time, so yeah. So we're dead because we can't beat an Atraxa, unfortunately. Yeah, there's no way to beat an Atraxa. So just really, really bad luck there in that game. Arena really helped them. We're gonna bring in our Hearse so we can hopefully kill some stuff. We'll take out our Play with Fire there, and another Play with Fire. And again, we're playing a deck that if it doesn't get its combo going, then we beat it. But because they went first, they were able to combo off and win the game. And I'll be glad to see the cards from the 4 sets that should have rotated already be gone, because really that's what they're ramping into. Alright, going to game 2 after getting obliterated in the first game. We'll keep this because I don't want to go down cards given where we are. Alright, we're going to go with Kumano faces Kakkazan. And so hopefully we draw into a creature here on turn 2. Okay, and we do. We draw into Feldon. And that means on turn 3 we'll be in pretty good shape because we'll have our Kumano, Feldon, and Goddric going at that point. We'll see if they've got removal here. If they do, then that'll be a little bit harder for us. Okay, so they've got their Archaeologist. Bring in Invasion. A lot of that. And we'll play Goddric here. Get him down to probably 9. So we've got potentially lethal next turn because we'll be able to get Urabrask Forge down and then get Goddric into the air. Okay, opponent mill some more. Okay, they don't get it. So we cast Forge here. And when that activates, then we have Celebration, and we should be able to win on this turn. So we'll go ahead and hit them for 2, and just in case we don't get there for some reason. Yeah, and so we were the fast deck in game 2. They were the slow deck. They didn't get the land they needed, so they were able to. We were able to go ahead and take them out. I'm not going to change it up at all in this case, even though I'd like to bring in Furnace Punishers. I just don't think we have time for that, given how explosive their deck can be. So hopefully they don't get a draw out that just buries us, but they certainly could. Alright, we are flooding again with our 5 lands now. So hopefully we don't see any more lands, because that's just going to make it harder and harder for us to play. Okay. Alright, we'll just go ahead and kill that to push the damage. And that'll give us a spell in the graveyard that we can replay later with Bloodthirsty Adversary. See what the opponent has. They're going to play another one, and we keep drawing land. So unfortunately, we've got to go ahead and do this just to try to push a little damage. But we flooded. If we end up losing this game, it's because of the flood. It's not because the opponent beat us. And they've gotten now what they need. They've got their 4th land. They can do a lot now. But they don't have their combo pieces in the graveyard. They do now with getting Atraxa in there. So if they have a way to get Atraxa back, we just lose at that point. But the good news for us is we are going to be able to get rid of their Atraxa. So we'll go ahead and attack here. That block. And that's going to be the unfortunate thing for us, that they're able to block. Alright, if they go to activate something from the graveyard, we'll go ahead and take those out. So they may not have anything, so we're going to go ahead and activate this. We'll get Atraxa in there. Picklock Prankster, get those exiled. And we get a Obliterating Bolt. Take out this Prankster, and we'll go ahead and attack for 2. And now they may have removal here for us, so that's unfortunate, but it's kind of where we are right now. But if we can stabilize if, and I think the big word is if we're able to get some creatures here, or get some playable cards, since we've gotten 7 lands so far. Alright, we're going to continue just to eat their graveyard. Okay. Unfortunately, we can't do anything there. And we'll just eat the rest of their graveyard. Okay, we've got Witchstalker Frenzy now. Fortunately, we've got a really big unlicensed Hearse, but no way to play it. And since I can't get stuff back from my graveyard, I'm going to go ahead and eat the Adversary. Okay, so we've got 6 damage. And part of this is preventing them from doing any shenanigans that might get stuff out of my graveyard. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and use these so they can't just take them. I was hoping to get to something that we could use, but just haven't gotten there yet. And they can get rid of our Witchstalker Frenzy. And they're getting to the point where they have mana to pretty much cast anything they want. The good news for us is, because we have so much mana, we're going to be able to get at least one activation off of Bloodthirsty Adversary. And they may have removal for this. Take that. Point it at their face. Go to combat, attack for 3. I could have taken the unlicensed Hearse and used that, and that would have been potentially lethal, but I figured they had something, so I wanted to make sure that we were able to go ahead and take out whatever it was that they were going after. Because that could have been really bad for us if they had gotten their portal to Phyrexia. Alright, so here we go. Kumano gets 1 more point of damage. So I feel like we've got a really decent opportunity here to potentially win the game. Okay, they're going to surveil with that. When it goes to the graveyard, we're going to go ahead and pull some things out of there. But we're going to wait patiently here. Okay. So now we can go ahead and pull stuff out of there. We'll get their portal to Phyrexia and their one with the multiverse. Okay. Let's see if they got removal. And they don't, so we got them. So with the deck that we're playing, you know, the thing for them is if they can just get to their combo, it's really hard to beat them. But because we had the unlicensed Hearse, we were able to prevent them from getting close to that combo. So that was really the key to winning game number 3. Alright, we're playing Mono Red in best of 3 on Standard, and this is the deck that won the South American Regional Championship. We'll go ahead and keep this. Unfortunately, we just continued to go second every single game to start with, so that puts our deck in a little bit of a disadvantage, not getting the potential to have 2 games on the play, but we will do what we need to here. Okay, playing that. Play Bloodthirsty Adversary here, and my assumption is that we're going to see the Dread Knight come down on turn 3, or a Glissa come down on turn 3. Okay, it's the Dread Knight. Play Feldon, or Goddric, sorry, we'll play Goddric here. And we're going to go ahead and attack with everything, and if they take out Adversary, we're okay with that because we're getting them down to 9. And then next turn, we're going to be able to Kumano plus Urabrask Forge to push even more damage. And the good thing about having Etching of Kumano on the board, the Dread Knight is exiled, it's not put in their graveyard, so they can't replay it. Okay, opponent playing the Iron Crag. And then free Strider Lookout. We get a Mirrex. So that means I'm still going to go the way I was planning here, because I think it's still the right move. But rather than attack with everything, we'll attack with Goddric and the token. And then he can block the token, we'll get him down to 4. And we know next turn we can Obliterating Bolt whatever we need to. Okay, and they're getting another crime. So we'll see what they have here. Okay, they have Outcaster Trailblazer. So they get another one, and they get a second one. Wow. Alright, so they've done really well with that, but the good news for us is that they're out of mana at the moment, but they are going to get 1 mana, so we'll see if that 1 mana matters at all. Okay, so we've got a good situation here. Unfortunately, Goddric's not going to get to the air. So we're going to Obliterating Bolt this. And we'll attack and kill one of the Outcasters, and then we'll be able to get 4 through and win game 1. Alright, so that went pretty well for us. They were kind of slow and didn't have removal. Now, the one thing that's good for us here in a longer game, they do have a lot of duels, so we'll bring in Furnished Punisher, 3 copies of that. And I also want to bring in the Elder Dragon War in case we need to take out some stuff. I'm going to take out both of the Feldons here because I don't think they're as effective for us. And I'm going to, for the moment, I'm going to keep in the Scorching Shots, and we'll take out a Kumano to get us down to our playability point. But the reason I went with the Saga there was because those Outcasters, we want to be able to kill those. Very good hand, but we have to mulligan because of the lack of lands. Okay, we're going to keep this. We'll send one of our Furnished Punishers to the bottom of the library. Okay, we're going to get us a Cliff. We did get our land, so great draw out here to start with. See if they have anything on turn 2. Okay, they're going to again draw a card, lose life, and we'll just push damage. And then depending on what happens, if they put another basic in play, then we'll have to consider what we're going to do. But if they don't put a basic into play here, we're going to hit them with a Furnished Punisher. And they do not. So we're going to go with Furnished Punisher so we can push some extra damage. And in this situation, I'm willing to trade here because if they want to bring that back, they have to spend their mana that way and take damage. So that'll be really helpful to us in the long run. And again, if they put a basic down, so we're out of the basics are going to help us point of the game. So now we'll go ahead and probably Obliterating Bolt that. Actually, I'm going to, because we got the Forge, I'm going to go with Forge here. And again, we'll probably trade with them in this situation, but maybe not if they go ahead and block. But yeah, they're going to trade. And that's perfectly fine for us because the trades are to our favor because Urabrask Forge is going to just keep growing and growing and growing. And now we can play Goddric on this turn, and Goddric will have flying because the Urabrask Forge's token will be a second permanent on the battlefield, and that'll give us that opportunity to go ahead and get in the air and hopefully get in some lethal damage. Okay, well they tear asunder that, so that's unfortunate. Okay, we get a second land here. We're still going to play Goddric because we want to push as much damage as we can. They're down to 1. And now if they don't have removal, we've got this game. So they're going to get additional mana. So Jun's going to have a couple of blockers here. Okay. And they see that they can't block everything, and we take it. All right. All right, we're back for our post-game wrap. So the deck overall, over the last week I've been playing it. I went 15-9 with it in ranked. 63% win rate, so very good win rate for the deck. 60% on the play, 53% on the draw. And overall, it was a solid deck where I felt like in most games I was in it. And I think that's important when you're playing, particularly on Arena, that you've got a deck that you feel like, okay, I can always have the chance of winning with this deck. Because sometimes you'll play decks that are popular, that they get the wrong matchup. It just feels like it's over. And this one does not feel that way, at least to me. So what we're losing when we get into Bloomburrow is we're going to lose our Kumano Faces Kakkazan. We'll also lose our 4 copies of Bloodthirsty Adversary. And we'll also lose our Sokenzan Crucible Defiance. But we're not really losing much from this deck. So obviously there are other cards that we know about, Slick Shot, Show Off, and some other ones that probably can fit in here nicely. You could even main deck your Furnished Punishers as a way of doing additional damage potentially to your opponent. So I think there's going to be a mono red deck moving forward as we move into the Bloomburrow season for Standard. That I think will remain a solid deck in Standard. And I also played this at a local F&M, and I was able to win that tournament with it. So I think, there's definitely a deck here that we'll see going forward. So thanks for staying to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember to like and subscribe to get further content like this throughout Outlaws of Thunder Junction Standard Season. Thanks. I'll see you next time.